What if I told you the most powerful weapon in the world isn't a missile, isn't an army, but a piece of paper? A paper that the entire world trusts. But what happens when that trust breaks? What happens if the US dollar collapses? Would the global economy crash overnight? Would nations fall into chaos? Or has this collapse already begun, quietly, behind the scenes? Welcome to Capital Chronicles, where money, power, and history collide. For decades, the US dollar has been the backbone of the global economy. Oil is traded in it, nations store it, and entire financial systems depend on it. But this power is not permanent. To understand what could happen, we first need to understand how it all began. After World War II, the world was left in ruins. Economies were shattered, nations were rebuilding, and only one country stood strong, the United States. A new financial system was created, one where the dollar became the center of global trade. Every major currency was tied to it, and the dollar itself was backed by gold. This created trust because for the first time, money had stability. But in 1971, everything changed. The link between the dollar and gold was broken. Suddenly, the dollar was no longer backed by anything physical. It became something far more fragile, a system based entirely on belief. And yet, the world didn't collapse. In fact, the dollar became even more powerful. Why? Because of oil. The United States ensured that oil, the most important resource in the world, would only be traded in dollars. This forced every country to hold dollars just to survive. And that's when the real power began. Because when you control money, you control the system. Over time, the dollar became the world's reserve currency. Nations stored it instead of gold. Markets moved because of it. Economies depended on it. And the United States gained something extraordinary: the ability to print money without immediate consequences. But no system like this lasts forever. Today, the cracks are beginning to show. Debt is rising. Trillions of dollars are being printed. Inflation is slowly increasing. But the real danger is not inflation. It's the loss of trust. Because the dollar only works as long as the world believes in it. And that belief is starting to weaken. Across the world, countries are beginning to shift away. Some are trading oil in other currencies. Others are building alternative financial systems. This change is not loud. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, quietly, and then suddenly. So what happens if the dollar collapses? The consequences would be massive. Global trade could freeze, markets could crash, supply chains could break apart. In the United States, inflation could rise sharply, savings could lose value, everyday life could become more expensive, banks could fail, panic could spread, and trust, the foundation of the system, could disappear. But this wouldn't be the first time something like this has happened. History is filled with powerful currencies that once ruled the world and then disappeared. The British pound once dominated global trade. The Roman Empire had its own monetary system. And in every case, the pattern was the same. Power rises, confidence grows, cracks begin to form, and then collapse. Today, we may be seeing the early stages of that same pattern. Rising global tensions, increasing debt, countries seeking independence from the dollar. It's not identical to the past, but it feels familiar. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because collapses don't announce themselves. They build quietly until it's too late. Here's the truth most people don't realize. The dollar doesn't need to completely collapse to change the world. Even a slow decline can shift global power. And that shift may have already begun. So what can we learn from all of this? First, no system lasts forever. Second, trust is the real foundation of money. And third, the biggest changes happen slowly, before they happen all at once. The real danger is not the collapse itself, it's ignoring the warning signs, because by the time everyone sees it, there's nothing left to stop it. So the question is not if the dollar will collapse, the question is, will you see it coming?
This is Capital Chronicles, and this is only the beginning.